For the past 2 days, a top DOJ official has been meeting with Ghislaine Maxwell, Jeffrey Epstein's girlfriend and accomplice in child trafficking. You know, pretty much everything that Epstein is known for and having done. Ghislaine was his associate and assistant in all of it, you know? She was effectively like the pimp that procured a lot of the young women that Epstein abused. So they'd known each other for years and years and years, right? Anyway, yeah, DOJ has been meeting with her because it seems like the Trump administration is pushing to have her testify to Congress to exonerate Trump, even though the DOJ has told Trump directly that he is in the Epstein files. You know, that leaked from the Wall Street Journal. Thank you. The DOJ, in a desperate attempt to get people off this thing, they are essentially insinuating that they are willing to trade favorable testimony from Maxwell in favor of a reduced sentence. Here's Tim Burchett the other day.
And said it's filings that they don't trust her. She's a liar.
No, she is a liar, and she's a dirtbag. And
so then why subpoena her if you can't trust her?
Well, because the one thing we got holding over her head is if we find out she lies, she goes back to her original sentence, and that's looking at lifetime. And if she's looking at maybe parlaying this into reducing her sentence, then we could have some.
So that's just explicit right there. That's just that's as straightforward as it gets. It's literally just, oh, if we hear something that we don't like, you go back to your original sentence. And if not, then maybe the sentence can be reduced. Get ready for the GOP to explain why isn't that bad. Yep. Well, I mean, it's not the, they've been downplaying this in so many different ways for a long time now. Yeah, I don't really think the Epstein-obsessed people are going to be satisfied with this either.
Would you consider a pardon or a commutation for Ghislaine Maxwell if
it's something I haven't thought about. It's really something. It's something I'm allowed to do it, but it's something I have not thought about.
But you wouldn't rule it out.
Why has the dollar?
It's something I'm allowed to do, but I haven't thought about. Why would you say that? Because he can't lie. He's not capable of lying. Totally incapable of lying. So somebody at some point probably told Trump directly to his face, like, you know, if you wanted to, you could trade this. This could be a quid pro quo thing, right? And he's just repeating it because, again, his brain is soup, you know? This is going to be the bid. I would not expect anything interesting to come out of the Maxwell testimony. Because why would it? Under what circumstances would Maxwell risk herself and an involuntary suicide, you know, by implicating Trump and a bunch of other people who would be very angry with her for doing so, versus, you know, she throws a couple of Democrats under the bus maybe, and she exonerates Trump, and then, oh, you know, for being such a good assistant to Epstein, maybe we should just exonerate you, you know, or at the very least reduce your sentence. Pretty rough.
A highly unorthodox meeting is set for round 2 in just a few hours. The Deputy Attorney General of the United States, Todd Blanche, is going to be meeting with Jeffrey Epstein's convicted former girlfriend, Ghislaine Maxwell, meeting again at the U.S. Attorney's Office in Tallahassee, Florida. That is where Maxwell is serving a 20-year sentence for conspiring, as John just mentioned, with Jeffrey Epstein to sexually abuse young girls. There are very big questions surrounding
worst cover-up in history. Honestly, it's up there. It's shocking. It makes me so thankful. It's, on one hand, it's frustrating because, like, it seems like no matter how poorly they play this, the consequences are not coming around anywhere near as quickly as you would want, if they're going to come at all. But at the same time, thank God they're not even a little bit more competent.
All of this, given the, 1, obscurity of the meeting, and 2, the lack of credibility that this woman has. What was asked of her? What information did Maxwell provide? What is being negotiated, and what is her motivation to speak at all? And can she be trusted to tell the truth? Todd Blanche has said that the Justice Department will be sharing any information that they learn, but, quote, at the appropriate time. And this all puts into focus, once again, how the White House is struggling, the president is struggling to turn the page on the issue over the Epstein files, as he has called it a hoax, but very clearly he can't shake it, and Congress does not share that viewpoint. Congress has made it clear they don't think it is a hoax. They want to see the files, and they aren't giving up. The Republican chair of the House Oversight Committee, James Comer, has already issued
important observation. Fox News did not cover Epstein. They are covering Maxwell. Wasn't there a Republican rep who just like outright said straightforwardly in public, we're trying to buy time. We're trying to provide cover for Trump. Oh, yeah, here we go.
That they've, I don't know, 8 years. I'm sure this would be handled just like any other thing that they've tried to go after, like the baseless impeachments or the baseless special counsels or the...
Oh, that's my senator? Why did you vote for them? You're responsible for this now.
Unbelievable amount of charges they've tried to file against the president. I'm sure this would be handled the exact same way. What we're simply wanting to do here is give them cover. So if my colleague from Arizona actually wants transparency, then he would drop his objection to my resolution.
Incredible stuff, really.
Subpoena to depose Maxwell. And he also says he's now moving quickly with issuing a subpoena to the Justice Department for all of those Epstein files. CNN's Kara Scannell tracking all of this for us this morning. What are you learning now, Kara?
Hey, good morning, Kate. Those are all great questions and questions that we are trying to get the answers to. But as you said, this is the second meeting, the second day in a row where Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche is meeting with Ghislaine Maxwell. Maxwell is convicted and serving a 20-year sentence.
I always have to remember that Ghislaine, not Ghislaine. It's very confusing. What ethnicity is Maxwell's first name? Ghislaine. What is that, like French? It's French? Okay.
For sex trafficking of minors. Prosecutors had proven at a 4-week trial that Maxwell had abused underage girls, recruited them and groomed them for Epstein to also sexually abuse them. So the big questions here is, what are the terms of this meeting? What are the ground rules here? Is Maxwell being offered anything for her testimony? She is trying to appeal her conviction and also this 20-year sentence that she is only a few years into serving. So a lot of questions.
You gotta forgive me for being cynical, or maybe sorry for not being cynical enough. Please, God, I need to believe this. I need this. I need this so badly. I need this. Okay. There is no way all of the MAGA buy this. There's no way that they'll go, oh, Ghislaine Maxwell said that Trump's not in it and she got her sentence reduced because of it. I believe her. There's no, I need at least a few percentage points. I need a little slice off the pie. I need somebody to understand. Somebody from their block. I need them to understand. Do you think she'll rat out Bill Clinton? Yeah, probably. I don't know.
About what is left to talk about today. We did see yesterday that the lawyers met for the full day. They arrived at 9 a.m. They left at 4 p.m. David Oscar Marcus, Maxwell's attorney, told CNN afterwards, he said that Ghislaine honestly answered every question that Mr. Blanche asked, and she will continue to do so. We are grateful that the government is trying to uncover the truth.
Thank you, attorney for Ghislaine Maxwell.
What the content of these discussions are, the questions, the answers. Blanche had said that he wants to know if Maxwell knows of anyone that committed any crimes against minors, these victims of the case. Now, Maxwell has denied any wrongdoing. She was, in fact, charged by the Justice Department with perjury for what she said in a civil lawsuit when she denied any knowledge of Epstein's scheme to recruit underage girls and have them give him sexualized massages.
This was the reason why she actually got to live and serve her sentence, by the way, or at least serve her sentence so far. The reason is because she's demonstrated that she's willing to lie and go to jail in order to not rat out on the people implicated. For whatever reason Epstein got suicided, Ghislaine Maxwell, I believe, was allowed to live, to go to trial, and now to jail because she demonstrated that she would just lie. Even if it got her, even if she perjured, even if it means that she went to jail for that, there was a way to lock her up without unearthing all the evidence that would implicate the clients of Epstein. If that makes any sense, it's not done in a way that implicates them.
has always maintained her innocence. So it is unclear what the scope of this testimony is, why it requires 2 days, and what she is saying, though we did see the video of her returning to prison yesterday where she was carrying a box in her hands. It's unclear what is in that box. Could be items that she brought to the meeting, or maybe it's information they want her to review. But she will be back in this meeting today, and we'll look to see how soon it is afterwards that Todd Blanche might update the public on what transpired in this meeting, what the Justice Department learned. Is it going to be enough to kind of quell the growing storm around this, the storm that won't go away, and if Maxwell's attorney provides any update today? Kate?
Yeah. Kara Scannell, thank you so much. John.
All right, with us now, CNN political commentator Alyssa Farah-Griffin and CNN senior legal analyst Ellie Holding. And I have to say, Ellie, that Kara just raised, a number of really important points here as we head into this extraordinary day 2 of meetings between Todd Blanche and Ghislaine Maxwell. What are the terms? What are the ground rules? What's in the box that Max
Hey, he did it. He did the thing. Some of the people in chat did the thing, too. He said the line. I get it. I've seen movies.
Maxwell is carrying. And how will we ever find out?
Okay, what is happening here resembles superficially the very ordinary cooperation process that I went through countless times as a prosecutor. You have a criminal defendant, that person's interested in cooperating, you spend days upon days with them, and you download everything they have. It looks like that's what's happening here, but let's be clear, it's not. This is not going to result in Ghislaine Maxwell becoming a full cooperating witness for the United States of America. This is not.
Elaborate.
Realistically, given her credibility problems, given her past, going to result in DOJ in signing her up as a cooperator, giving her a sentencing break, indicting new people based on her, calling her as a witness at trial. And so the question then becomes, and I think these are what Kara's questions go to, what is the end game? What are they trying to do? It looks to me like they're trying to check a box. They're trying to appease the critics, be able to say, look, we sat down with her, we got information, we dug in, we tried to find the truth. And hopefully that'll appease people. I don't know.
Well, no. The Republicans have overtly they're saying they want her to testify, and they're signaling that they might be trading a favorable testimony from somebody who's been convicted of perjury for a lower sentence. Like, they're trying to make a deal with her. Like, maybe they don't go through the entire rigmarole. Maybe they don't officially declare her to be a cooperating witness or something like that, because this is totally out of the ordinary. If she was a cooperating witness, what you would expect is that she would be brought in on another criminal trial, but that's not what's happening here. She's being brought to Congress to exonerate the president. She's not being a witness. Like, she's not being brought to a courtroom. That's not what's happening here. She would be brought as essentially like to testify in, not even really testifying, right? To anecdotally defend Donald Trump. I mean, that might be a little bit more informal than the typical process, but
work. But I think that's the end game.
And how will we find? I mean, I think, look, we're going to hear only, I think, what Maxwell is telling Blanche via.
Is there even a precedent for this? That's a good question. Can somebody else think of a time that somebody has traded a reduced sentence for a congressional testimony where they essentially just said, like, where they provided information the government wanted to hear, but not in the context of any ongoing trial? Because I can't think of any.
Blanche and maybe Maxwell's attorneys, and all of their interests may be aligned. I mean, how will we ever see real data on this?
Exactly. You would never have somebody audio recording this type of scenario or video recording this type of scenario. We don't know, but I would assume that holds true here. Ordinarily, and it seems like what's happening here is you will have a prosecutor, Todd Blanche in this case, very unusual, by the way, that it's the deputy AG, asking questions, and one or more.
Yeah, it is pretty weird that the person conducting the interviews is one of the top officials of the DOJ and not just like a regular lawyer. That is quite strange.
FBI agents taking notes. They will then, the FBI agents will produce what's called a 302, which is a written summary. But you're right. Who controls the questioning, and then who controls what we see of this? The answer is DOJ, Todd Blanche, and the FBI.
Alyssa, to quote the famous political film Mean Girls, the
Oliver North is the closest I can think of. Yeah, but even that was in the context of an ongoing trial, right? That was essentially like him taking the fall so Reagan could be protected. But it wasn't. A fully comparable thing would be if he was already convicted and then he was brought to say, no, it was just me, not Reagan, and that kept the investigation off Reagan or something. Though it is a little closer. It is in the ballpark.
The president keeps trying to make hoax happen when it comes to the Epstein case. He calls it a Democratic hoax and whatnot. But I want you to listen to House Speaker Mike Johnson, what he just said about all of this.
Oh, please.
We want full transparency. We want everybody who is involved in any way with the Epstein evils, let's call it what it was, to be brought to justice as quickly as possible. We want the full weight of the law on their heads.
This is not a hoax, in other words.
Oh, it's not a hoax. Of course not.
Of course not. So what does that tell you about the messaging the president has been trying to deliver? As again, we're standing by to see the president depart for Scotland, where I imagine Epstein may...
Todd Blanche isn't just a... Oh, you're right. I forgot, Senuage. Todd Blanche isn't just a DOJ official. He was Trump's defense lawyer for his 2024 New York criminal trial. Literally, the president's personal lawyer is talking to Ghislaine. Yeah, I completely forgot about that. Yeah. Jesus.
May come up on his way out.
Yeah, the president can't make hoax or fetch happen at this point. But listen, Mike Johnson and Donald Trump are virtually always aligned. But in this moment, keep in mind, we're a year and 4 months out from the midterms. Mike Johnson's members are going home to their districts for this August recess. And many of them are going to hear from very angry constituents.
Forced August recess. Forced recess that Mike Johnson forced to keep, to buy them time to keep people from pushing for the Epstein files to be released.
Over the flip-flop and reversal on the Epstein files. Many voters turned out. One of the reasons they did is they wanted to get to the bottom of this. You know, Donald Trump doesn't really have to deal with this beyond just the continual drip of questions and getting grilled by reporters. But he's not standing for re-election again. And Mike Johnson's top job right now is keeping the House majority. So he is going to have to create some daylight with Trump. He also said something interesting when asked yesterday, I believe, where he kind of sowed some doubt that Ghislaine...
People in other countries will never understand the immense psychic damage that you incur as an American because the campaigning season never ends. The entire House gets reelected every 2 years, and basically it's from the word go. Unless you're in an extremely safe seat, like the day after you've been sworn in, it's like, all right, everyone, let's get time for another. It never ends. You never get a break.
Maxwell could actually be a trustworthy person because this is a convicted sex trafficker. This is somebody who assisted a man with grooming and with bringing other women into this horrible circumstances. So he also seems to be maybe kind of pouring some cold water on the idea that she's going to help us get to the bottom of anything or that she herself should be trusted. It's the right move. It's the right move by Johnson. He's got to focus on protecting his members and cannot have them dragged down by the White House's mishandling of this.
It is interesting. You bring up Maxwell again.
Hold on 1 second, because again, this is one of those things where the situation develops so quickly. Like 2 hours after this got put out, they're responding to Donald Trump saying that he has the ability to pardon Ghislaine Maxwell. Kind of curious.
President Trump speaking to reporters over at the White House just before leaving for his trip to Scotland. I want to go right to our senior White House reporter, Kevin Liptak. Kevin, you've been listening to what the president had to say. Update our viewers who may have just tuned in.
Yeah, and it was quite a lengthy session that we had with President Trump out on the South Lawn as he's heading now on his way to Scotland. And I think one of the most interesting things that he was asked and sort of answered was whether he was considering a pardon or commutation for Ghislaine Maxwell. Remember, she is the associate of Jeffrey Epstein, who is down in Tallahassee, Florida, yesterday and today, speaking with the Deputy Attorney General, Todd Blanche, who is potentially looking for more information about this Epstein case in a bid to kind of tamp down on the furor among some of the president's supporters who believe the administration has not been transparent enough. And the reason this question of a pardon or commutation has come up is because people are wondering what incentive Maxwell will have to kind of spill the beans, to talk to Blanche, to give him the information that he needs. You know, she's serving a 20-year prison sentence down there for sex trafficking, and she has appealed her case. She wants to get out of prison. Listen to what the president said when I asked him this. Would you consider a pardon or a commutation for
Great audio.
Maxwell if
It's something I haven't thought about. It's really something.
Recommended it.
It's some, I'm allowed to do it, but it's something I have not thought about.
But you wouldn't rule it out, sir?
Trump on tarmac an hour ago fielding Maxwell questions in Scotland. He just got off the plane. No, wait, there's still... Okay. So that's the front page of the National as Trump flies in. I assume that Trump wants to spend the weekend like, teeing off on a golf course because he wants a break from all the Epstein stuff. So naturally, as soon as he arrives, they ask him about Epstein stuff. That's good.
Hello, everybody. You know our ambassador to Scotland, and it's great to be in Scotland. We are going to be meeting with the Prime Minister, I guess tomorrow, a little bit tomorrow and the next day. And we're going to do some great things. Do you have any questions?
What the hell? C-SPAN?
What? Yes. I'll be meeting with the EU on Sunday, and we'll be working on a deal. We'll see if we make a deal. Ursula will be here, highly respected woman. The people will be staying at Turnberry. They tapped everybody along, and we'll see what happens. We'll see what response Israel has to that. But it's getting to be that time. Him tomorrow, I guess, tomorrow evening. And this is our wonderful ambassadors, millions of dollars, and they've laid all the wire to get me the permits. But a lot of people have asked about pardon.
Oh, found it.
I really have really nothing to say about it. She is being talked to by a very smart man, by a very good man, Todd Blanche. And I don't know anything about the conversation. I haven't really...
I'm sure.
Been following it. A lot of people are asking me about pardons. Obviously, this is no time to be talking about pardons. But a lot of people have asked about pardon. This is just not a time to be talking about pardons. Todd will come back with whatever he's got. You're making a very big thing over...
You know they want to pardon her, or at least they're keeping it on the table to pardon her, because otherwise he would just say, why would we pardon that freak? This was the close accomplice of Jeffrey Epstein. The fact that we're engaging in this language of plausible deniability, it means it's being used as a bargaining chip. Otherwise, there was absolutely no reason why. Literally no reason, you know?
Something that's not a big thing. You should be talking about, if you're going to talk about that, talk about Clinton, talk about the former president of Harvard, talk about all of his friends, talk about the hedge fund guys that were with him all the time. Don't talk about Trump. What you should be talking...
That's dangerous language, by the way. For the most part, when Trump talks about Epstein, he does it in a, like, stop talking about this, none of it matters, I wasn't there, I don't know what you're talking about kind of way. But if he starts to, like, implicate other people, it comes across as desperate. It means that there's a breakdown in the wall, right? There's a breakdown in, like, this shared bond of silence. That plus the Wall Street Journal stuff, the fact that some of the most, like, it's Rupert Murdoch, right? Like, essentially one of the most powerful media moguls on the planet, seems to be at the very least, like, allowing the Wall Street Journal to be used as a source to attack Trump. It makes me wonder if the powers that be are shrugging him off a little bit. Why is the Wall Street Journal talking about it, but Fox won't? Well, even if they're both fundamentally owned by the same people, I think that it's a matter of plausible deniability to an extent. The Wall Street Journal isn't as openly partisan as Fox News is. You know, it's really just a matter of, like, where that information comes out, right? But you also couldn't make every single Fox News host immediately just shift to be anti-Trump. With a newspaper organization, you can get information through a little more cleanly because it's not as personal. But when it's a bunch of broadcasters and pundits and anchors and stuff, you have to, I think it takes a little bit more time or more effort, you know? But it has happened before. It has happened before. Keep in mind that after January 6th, Fox News got pretty cold towards Trump.
About is the fact that we have the greatest 6 months in the history of a presidency, according to a lot of people. And We had an amazing 6 months, and this is sort of an example of it. Now we're meeting with the European Union, we're also meeting with, as you know, the head of UK, Prime Minister, and I look forward to that. But we're meeting in terms of a deal. We're meeting with the European Union, and that would be actually the biggest deal of them all if we make it.
Did you ask House Republican leaders to not vote on the resolution about
I was never involved in that. I'm focused on making deals. I'm not focused on conspiracy theories that you are. I mean, I watch you people. It's so sad. You ought to talk about the success of our country instead of this nonsense that you talk about over and over again.
You've done an amazing job on illegal
Not good language with this base, by the way. Not good language with this base.
migration in America.
I have.
People here are very worried about the situation. Record numbers.
Well, I say two things to Europe. Stop the windmills. You're ruining your countries. I really mean it. It's so sad. You fly over and you see these windmills all over the place, ruining your beautiful fields and valleys and killing your birds. And if they're stuck in the ocean, ruining your oceans. Stop the windmills. And I mean, there's a couple of things I could say, but on immigration, you better get your act together. Or you're not going to have Europe anymore. You got to get your act together. And we, as you know, last month we had nobody entering our country. Nobody. Shut it down. And we took out a lot of bad people that got there with Biden. Biden was a total stiff. And what he allowed to happen, but you're allowing it to happen to your countries. And you got to stop this horrible invasion that's happening to Europe. Many countries in Europe. Some people, some leaders have not let it happen. And they're not getting the proper credit they should.
I think windmills are quite pretty, actually. Have we considered dressing up windmills a little bit? I feel like we're so utilitarian with windmills and with solar panels. We could probably, we could do a little bit to dress them up. Maybe make them a little bit more, even if it reduced their energy efficiency by 2% or something. If I recall correctly, the problem is paint is heavy and causes issues. Yeah, I guess maybe with windmills it would be difficult. I don't know. I saw a 3D mock-up of solar panels being used to provide a car park with shade, so you could park in the shade because the sun's hitting the panels above, and that looked pretty cool. Maybe if I looked at it again, I would think, that's not actually that useful. We need to return to tradition. Well, old-style windmills were used to mill grain. That's why they're called windmills, because they were a mill that used wind power. We don't really do that anymore. Now we just, we take the charge and add it to the grid. But it's unfortunate because old-style windmills do, in fact, look very nice. We associate them... we look at them, we associate them with beautiful pastoral industriousness, right? Oh, this area is beautiful and rural, but it's also stuff is going on here. Yeah. Alas.
I could name them to you right now, but I'm not going to embarrass the other ones. But stop. This immigration is killing Europe. And the other thing, stop the windmills, killing the beauty of your countries. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you. That's great, Trump. Thank you very much, Trump. Look, again, I keep saying this. We'll see how it plays out. We'll see how it plays out. We'll see. I don't know. I don't know. But it really looks like they're planning on using a pardon as a bargaining chip. And since the House is adjourned, it might be a long while before the testimony actually happens, which means the GOP is potentially going to have at least 5-6 weeks to launder Maxwell's reputation. They're already getting started. Newsmax's Greg Kelly on Ghislaine Maxwell. She just might be a victim. She just might be. There was a rush to judgment. That's crazy.
So, remember this? Last year, President Trump, last year in a courtroom, flanked by two Newsmax veteran, Eric Bolling.
Should Ghislaine Maxwell be behind bars?
She shouldn't be, but she is. She is really serving Jeffrey Epstein's sentence after he committed suicide.
That's who we're going to? We're going to the Dersher? The Dershowitz? The Dershmeister? Good Lord.
There's a rush to judgment. Oversight Committee, I think this is great. I do have a feeling that she just might be a victim. She just might be.
There is so much evidence that she is like 100% is guilty. She was literally Epstein's right-hand woman. Like right there, hand in hand. There is no evidence. To my knowledge, there is no evidence of pressure being put on her. The only reason we still talk about Epstein rather than Maxwell is just because Epstein was the guy. But in terms of moral culpability and responsibility, I feel like they're kind of 50-50. Like they're both evil, you know? There's testimony she joined in the abuse from the victims. Of course! Yeah! This is a level of evil that I would expect from the... Like, if he's the king of pedophilia, she's the queen of pedophilia, I feel like... I wouldn't hear that of that union and think, oh, well, the queen probably wasn't that involved, you know?
There was a rush to judgment. There was a lot of...
That's great. Anyway, here we have Epstein's lawyer, Dershowitz. We're going to see so much Maxwell apologia from the right over the next at least month. Incredible. Yeah, the Democrats are being louder about the Epstein stuff, and I really hope they keep it up because it works well for them. It works well against the Republicans and for the Democrats. It'd be funny if Ghislaine's testimony implicates the Dersh. 0% chance. Also, Dersh self-implicates all the time. Like, I don't think... Listen, the greatest and most damning testimony against Dershowitz is Dershowitz. Consistently, with no one provokes it, he just says it, you know? He doesn't need any help in that respect.